Hello, new or returning player. This video is going to show you how to get started with Nebulastra Season 5. From the top, the first thing you need to do is give the roleplay and submission info channels a good look. You can skim it if you like, but you do need to actually read it. It's important to understanding how the campaign works and how to submit your stuff. When that's out of the way, you're going to need a species. Now there's a lot of things you could do here. Since this is a space campaign, a sapient spacefaring species could be anything you imagine from another world. You can use a humanoid body plan, or any other, as long as it makes sense to how they're able to achieve intelligence and spaceships. Make sure to read the species submission info if you're making a species. Alternatively, you could just use humans, which don't require permission, or ask for permission from another player to be able to use their existing species. The submission template for species is mostly self-explanatory. Just remember that you have a maximum of 20 points to allocate to your physical attributes, with a minimum of 1 in each category. The species stats themselves don't have any mechanical bonuses, they're just for roleplay purposes. It's not that they won't affect the game at all, they just don't give any bonuses or debuffs. Just know that if you put any stat as 6 or higher, you're required to justify it using evolutionary lore, like why did your species need this when they're evolving on their home planet? Why didn't they have that? Why'd they get this? The higher the stat, the stronger or more justification required. I'm going to fill out the template really quick. Now onto the nation creation process. Just like the species submission, the general info is pretty easy, self-explanatory, you can figure this out. But what most people get confused on is the ratings, everything from here. Now please remember this, you have exactly 15 points to allocate to each field, and each of these ratings directly affects bonuses in the game. Your military rating affects ground battles, your navy rating affects space battles, so on and so forth. When you pick your starting ratings, the ratings you start out with, first you're going to put them right here. The starting ratings is to keep track permanently of what ratings you submitted your nation with. These ratings never change. They're archives, essentially. This is for you to keep track, for staff to keep track, and to see your progress. Now to the main rating fields, these ones do change in many different ways. For example, quality of life, you can use technology, you can use resources, or you can use living standards to change your rating. Industry, navy, and military mostly use technology to change them, but industry especially can be used with structures. If you want to see exactly what gets affected by each type of rating, read roleplay info, as everything important is there as always. As for economy, it can seem confusing at first, but once you get past that initial hurdle of realizing what you're looking at, it's actually not complicated at all. It's a simple expenditure and income system. Certain things give you money, certain things take away money. This is gross income, giving money, and expenditures, taking money. If you subtract expenditures from gross income, in this case 125 minus 75, you get your net income. The net income is the amount taken away or added to your treasury or your bank at the end of a session. For example, if I had 47 net income and 100 treasury, at the end of a session, I would be getting 147 in my treasury and another 47 coming in the end of the next session. Money is used for a lot of important things, including ships, structures, living standards, and namely technology. Of course, you can find each living standards policy and roleplay info, as always. Be sure to note that these fields are just examples. If you don't have trade income, if you don't have other income, if you don't have trade costs, expenditures, you can just delete those. Those are examples. Also note that you always start with 3 ships. For the non-state entities, they are pretty much just the same as regular nations. This template mostly has only general info changes, which again, self-explanatory. You can figure this out on your own. Read roleplay info for non-state entity mechanics. And this is how you start with Nebulastra. It's not that hard. You just look at roleplay info, submission info, give it a good look. Go to species, make your own, ask for somebody else's species, or just play as humans. Go to nations, create a new nation, whether that be an actual state entity, a corporation, a PMC, or hell, an insurgency in another player's nation, as long as you're role-playing it well and it makes sense. And from there, you can do whatever you want. Remember that Nebulastra is about writing a story, not winning the painting game. So whatever you do, you should focus on telling the best story and having fun.